Well, tonight the number of car crashes in Midtown is climbing. A new report found in 2025 of the more than 2,000 car crashes, 2 people died and nearly 500 people were hurt. Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn dug deeper into these numbers. So Patrick, the city now is making a concerted effort to change how streets in Midtown are designed to hopefully improve safety.
And Blair, on average, there are 6 car crashes every single day here in Midtown. I'm crossing the street right now in a crosswalk. I'm going to move a little faster. This crosswalk still needs to be painted. So a lot of changes happening in Midtown to reduce some of those numbers. And if you've driven in Midtown, you've noticed a lot of these changes. A lot more brakes. Midtown overall, and the city backing it, is trying to make Midtown pedestrian first. Car crashes are mounting in Midtown. Last year, a hit and run at the Rainbow Crosswalk at 10th and Piedmont. Another pedestrian hit here at West Peachtree and Peachtree Place. Just 2 of nearly 2,200 car crashes in Midtown last year, an increase for the 3rd straight year.
We're seeing a high number of crashes.
For the first time, the Midtown Alliance released a crash report with hopes that digging into the data will turn the numbers around. Maybe not surprising, the Alliance found Midtown's crash hotspots were just off the connector at 10th, 14th, and North. Of top concern for the Midtown Alliance, cars hitting people, walking on bikes and scooters. It happened 116 times last year, about double that from 5 years ago.
So those are the kinds of crashes that we have to figure out how to prevent.
The report found the most effective way to reduce car crashes in Midtown: change how the streets are designed. Take Spring and 5th Street, now with a pedestrian scramble. Impressively, no pedestrians were hit here last year.
You can see it here. The pedestrians know what to do. The cars are in all-stop mode as the pedestrians are crossing, so there's no worry about cars turning into you, going through you.
And the changes go far beyond that corner. If you've driven around Midtown, you've noticed it's happening quite quickly. 14th Street, near West Midtown, lost a traffic lane, now with a dedicated 2-way bike lane. Same scenario on Juniper Street, and Atlanta's Department of Transportation Commissioner Solomon Cavanis told me changes to Monroe Drive, prioritizing pedestrian safety, will start this summer.
As Midtown evolves, the city is evolving, and we want to make sure that safety is at the center of everything we do.
And back here live, Solomon Cavanis, he told me the city's also using AI technology on its traffic signals to help keep things moving for, both cars and for people. We're live here in Midtown tonight. Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.